Listen up. You don't need to beg. You don't need to chase. You don't need to block him just to prove a point. You are not here to play mind games. You are here to own your power. Most people think the only way to deal with someone pulling away is by either cutting them off completely or pleading for their attention. Both are desperate moves. Both put you in a position of weakness. And you were never meant to be weak. So what do? Instead? You disappear in silence, but not in weakness. Listen, most people don't get this, but silence is the most powerful move you can make. It's not weakness. It's not surrender. It's a statement, a message louder than any words you could ever say. When someone starts pulling away, when they stop calling, stop texting, stop showing up the way they used to, what do most people do? They panic, they reach out, they beg for answers. They try to force a response, a reaction, anything to prove they still matter. But let me tell you something, desperation kills attraction faster than anything else. It's like watching a fighter who's already lost before stepping into the ring. You can see it in their eyes. They're chasing, they're hoping, they're waiting for mercy. And that's not you. That's never you. What do? Instead? Nothing. You stop talking. You stop explaining. You stop justifying your work. You let them feel the silence. And I promise you, they will feel it. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of 1,000 things they weren't ready to hear. It's full of every question they suddenly don't have answers to. And most importantly, it forces them to deal with the one thing they've been avoiding, your absence. You see, when you pull back, when you stop engaging, something shifts. Suddenly, they don't have the control they thought they did. They don't get to feed off your emotions, your reactions, your need for closure. And that's what messes with their head. That's what makes them sit up at night scrolling through old messages, wondering why you're not reacting the way they expected. People don't realize what they had until it's gone. Cliché, maybe, but it's the truth. And the moment you stop giving them easy access to your energy, they start remembering, they start questioning, they start missing. And let me be clear, this isn't about playing games. This isn't about manipulation. This is about knowing your value and refusing to beg someone to see it. Because if they couldn't see it when you were giving them everything, they sure as hell will see it when you take it all away. And here's where it gets interesting. When you go silent, they expect you to come running back. They expect you to break. They expect a late night text, a long-winded message, something to prove you still care. But when that message never comes, when the phone stays silent, when they realize you're not sitting around waiting for them to make up their mind, that's when the regret kicks in. That's when the tables turn. Suddenly, you're not the one wondering where they stand. They're the ones wondering where you went. It's human nature. We take for granted what's always there. We assume we have time. We assume we can come and go as we please. But the moment you remove yourself from that equation, the moment you stop making it easy for them to take you for granted, that's when they realize they messed up. And by the time they figure it out, by the time they start missing you, craving you, needing that energy back, it might already be too late. Because here's the thing, silence doesn't just make them miss you, it makes you see the truth. It makes you realize that you never needed to chase. You never needed to convince. You never needed to prove your worth to someone who should have seen it all along. And once you understand that, once you feel that power, you'll never beg for anyone's attention again. Most people don't understand the power of shifting their focus. When someone starts pulling away, the instinct is to obsess, to sit there analyzing every little thing they said, every text they didn't send, every moment that felt different. You start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening? How do I fix it? And in that spiral, you lose the most important thing, you. You stop being the main character in your own life and start living in reaction to someone else's decision. And that's a mistake. That's a losing game, because the more you focus on them, the more power you give away. And the more power you give away, the less they feel the need to come back. Think about it. Why would they chase you if they know you're still waiting? If they can feel your energy still circling around them? If they know they can walk back into your life at any moment and you'll be right there? There's no urgency, no curiosity, no loss. And people only realize what they had when they feel that loss, when they see that you're no longer the same person who once waited for them to choose you, when they realize that while they were off being indecisive, you were out there becoming unstoppable. That's what shifting your focus does. It pulls you out of their orbit and puts you back in your own. It reminds you that your life doesn't revolve around their attention, their validation, or their affection. You take all that energy you were wasting on them and you pour it into yourself. You level up. You get stronger. You become a version of yourself that demands attention without ever asking for it. And here's where it gets good. When they finally look back, when they finally check in to see if you're still waiting, they won't find the person they left behind. They won't find the same energy, the same desperation, the same longing. They'll find someone who has moved on, someone who has outgrown them, someone who is thriving without them. Proving your worth means fighting for someone to see it. But the truth is that the most magnetic, the most attractive, the most unforgettable people are the ones who are willing to walk away. The ones who know their value so deeply that they don't need to convince anyone else of it. And that's where the real shift happens. When someone expects you to hold on, when they assume you'll always be there, when they believe they have you no matter what they do, and then you let go, it shocks them. It makes them question everything, because suddenly the dynamic has flipped. Suddenly they're not in control anymore. Suddenly they're the ones feeling the uncertainty, the doubt, the fear of loss. Think about it. If someone knows you'll always be waiting, there's no urgency, no need for them to step up, to change, to chase. But when they see you slipping away, when they realize that you actually mean it, when you say you won't tolerate less than you deserve, that's when they panic. That's when they start questioning, did I take them for granted? Did I misjudge their feelings? Did I just lose something irreplaceable? Because here's the thing, people don't value what they know they have. They value what they might lose. And when you detach, when you step back, when you make it clear that you are not someone who will sit around waiting for breadcrumbs, you create that fear of loss. And that fear, that's what makes them rethink everything. But here's the best part. When you embrace detachment, you win either way. If they come back, it's because they realized your worth. And if they don't, then you just confirmed they were never meant for you in the first place. Either way, you walk away stronger, more confident, more in control of your own life. And that's the ultimate power, not needing anyone to choose you because you've already chosen yourself. Most people think love is about proving something, proving you care, proving you're worthy, proving you won't leave. But the truth, the real power isn't in proving anything. It's in holding your ground. It's in not budging when someone expects you to bend. Because the second you start proving yourself, the second you start convincing someone to see your worth, you've already lost the game. See, when someone pulls away, when they test you, when they try to see how much they can get away with, they're not just looking at what you say, they're watching what you allow. They're seeing if you'll fold, if you'll break your own boundaries just to keep them close. And the moment you do, they lose respect. Not because you're not valuable, but because you've shown them that your value is negotiable. But when you stand firm, when you say this is what I accept and this is what I don't, when you make it clear that you're not afraid to lose them because you refuse to lose yourself, that's when they take notice. That's when they start seeing you differently, because strength is attractive, self-respect is magnetic, and people feel when someone won't compromise their standards just to keep the peace. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone push and push just to see if they can get away with a little more, just to see if you'll back down? That's human nature. But when they push and you don't move, when they test you and realize you mean what you say, that's when they realize you're different. That's when they realize you're not like the rest. And the ones who truly want you, the ones who deserve you, they'll step up. They'll respect you more for it. But the ones who are just there for the convenience, for the ego boost, for the control, they'll fall away. And that's a good thing, because you don't need someone who only values you when you're easy to manipulate. You need someone who values you because you're unshakable. So don't break your boundaries. Don't lower your standards. Don't move just because they expect you to. Stand firm, hold your ground, and watch how the right people rise to meet you. At the end of the day, power isn't about control. It's about self-mastery. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you never feel the need to prove it to anyone. You don't beg. You don't chase. You don't lower your standards just to keep someone close. Instead, you hold your ground. You show them, without a single word, that you are not someone who waits around for bare minimum effort. Because the moment you stop reacting, the moment you detach, the moment you make it clear that your happiness doesn't depend on them, that's when they start feeling your absence. That's when they start realizing they misjudged you. And that's when you take back control, not over them, but over yourself. So let them wonder. Let them feel your silence. Let them realize what they've lost. And if they come back, it's on your terms. And if they don't, then you just prove that walking away was the best decision you ever made. Either way, you win. Because the most powerful thing you can ever do is refuse to settle for less than you deserve. Most people think attraction is about looks, about saying the right things, about playing the perfect role. But let me tell you something. None of that matters if there's no mystery. If someone thinks they have you all figured out, if they believe they know exactly how you'll react, exactly what you'll do next, they lose interest. Not because you're not valuable, but because there's no challenge, no curiosity, no pull. And the moment you become predictable, you become forgettable. That's why you don't beg. That's why you don't over-explain. That's why you don't chase after someone who's pulling away, because the second you do, you hand them the script. You make it easy for them to put you in a box, to assume they know your next move, to take you for granted. But when you pull back, when you stop reacting the way they expect, that's when the game changes. That's when they start questioning everything. Think about it. If someone expects you to blow up their phone, to demand answers, to cry, to beg, to prove how much you care, and you don't, if you go silent, if you disappear, if you show them that their absence doesn't break you, it rattles them. It makes them uncomfortable because suddenly they don't know where they stand with you anymore. Suddenly they don't know if they still have that hold over you. And nothing haunts a person more than uncertainty. The people who stay on your mind are the ones who leave you wondering, the ones you can't quite figure out, the ones who don't always do what you expect. That's what makes someone irresistible. It's not just how they look, it's how they make you think. And when you stop being predictable, when you stop giving easy answers, when you hold your power in silence instead of chasing validation, that's when they can't get you out of their head. And here's the best part. You don't have to try to create mystery. You don't have to play games or manipulate. You just have to be a person with a life, a mission, a purpose that isn't centered around them. You have to be someone who doesn't need their attention to feel complete. And when they see that, when they feel that shift, that's when the dynamic flips. That's when they start watching you instead of expecting you to watch them. That's when they realize they don't know you the way they thought they did. And that's what makes them come back. Not because you begged, not because you played along, but because they need to figure you out. They need to know why you're not reacting, why you're not chasing, why you're not giving them the energy they expected. And by the time they realize how much they want you, you might already be gone. Most people think power comes from control, controlling the situation, controlling the other person, controlling the outcome. But real power comes from controlling yourself, from mastering your emotions instead of letting them master you. Because the second you let someone see you rattled, desperate, or anxious for their attention, you give them control. You put the ball in their court. And once they know they can shake you, they know they can keep you waiting, wondering, hoping. But when you stay calm, when you refuse to react, when you show them that their absence doesn't disturb your peace, that's when everything shifts. That's when they start wondering what's going on in your head instead of assuming they have you figured out. Because most people expect a reaction. They expect drama, confrontation, proof that they still matter to you. And when you don't give them that, when you stay composed, confident, and unbothered, it unsettles them. It forces them to question whether they misjudged you. Think about it. If someone walks away, pulls back, or ignores you, and you immediately react, sending texts, demanding answers, showing them that they still have the power to affect you, they know they have control. They know they can come and go as they please because you've already proven that you're emotionally invested no matter how they treat you. But if they pull away and you stay still, if they expect to chase and you give them nothing, that silence, that self-control, that refusal to play into their expectations, that's when they start feeling the loss. Because nothing is more powerful than being unfazed. When they expect you to beg and you don't. When they expect you to be hurt and you smile. When they expect to see you waiting but instead they see you winning. They don't just question their actions. They question their worth in your life. They start wondering, did I actually matter to them? Did I make a mistake? Did I lose something I didn't appreciate? And once that doubt creeps in, once they start overthinking you the way you once overthought them, that's when the dynamic flips. The truth is, people only value what they can't shake, what they can't control, what they can't fully understand. And the moment you show someone that your peace, your happiness, your identity isn't tied to their attention, that's when they realize they don't hold as much power as they thought. That's when they start feeling what it's like to miss you. So the next time you feel that urge to react, to prove something, to seek validation, stop, take a breath, step back. Let them wonder, let them feel the silence, let them realize what they're losing without you having to say a single word. Because the second you master your emotions, you become untouchable. And once you become untouchable, they either respect you or they regret losing you. Either way, you win.